All right, ladies and gents, let's do a build with me session. Let's automate validator optimizations on Bittensor, because right now, if you're a Bittensor staker on 10, 20, 30 different subnets, if you want to do it right, you need to be ahead of the game as to when a validator unregisters from a subnet, or if the validator falls off in terms of APY yield in a specific subnet. And we are going to set up an automated email alert to tell us that a validator isn't as good, or maybe his APY dropped and we need to switch it to the best one right now. Ultimately, if you aren't careful, you're going to miss out on a lot of easy alpha tokens when it comes to staking. So let's do it. Completely beginner friendly, all with Claude code. I'm going to show you how I think, how I build as a vibe coder, and how I build cool automatic stuff, within this ecosystem. Let's get it. So step one, just hover over here, select API, click access documentation, and then go to API reference just on top. What interests us right now is the validation section. So just click it right here, and we have all these different API calls for validators, but for different reasonings. But we are interested by get validator yield. So select it, and you directly have the way you need to write it as the request into your script that you're gonna put on your terminal. And you have the response as well. It shows you exactly a response as to what you're gonna get back, once it calls it. All right, so we're gonna see how we're gonna configure that to our needs, but this is the basic example. If you simply copy paste this into an LLM, he's going to have everything he needs and he's gonna guide you properly. So let's go and do that right now. So obviously you would need to know basic Linux. I'm not gonna explain over everything. So just go to whatever project folder you wanna do. So I'm in projects right now, and just let's make another directory. So make dir, let's call it Valley Alerts. So boom, just like that, we've just created a validator alert folder where the code is going to sit. CD Valley Alerts, this is change directory. So Valley Alerts. And we're just going to create a quick virtual environment. Let me just write it real quick. I'll see if I know it by heart. Python 3 m venv. Perfect. So it should create the virtual environment. Just wait for the little root Rachner thingy-majiggy to pop up. So source venv bin activate. Wow, so I'm making progress. Even me, I know these virtual environment commands by now. It's probably the first time I write it by hand, but yeah. So now the virtual environment is created. Because remember guys, I have all these other different folders that are different scripts, and each of them have their own virtual environment. It's like a separate virtual workbench for the script. And every time you have a new script, just make a new venv. It's going to be cleaner and you're not going to have things pulling onto each other and crashing your systems. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes and start prompting Claude for him to build us something. So I'm going to copy the request, paste it, space. I'm going to copy the response, paste it again. So it copied it like this, and I'm going to start typing. Okay, so here is I'm actually going to send him some screenshots of this page, because this is the page that we are interested in by the 1 month APY. So I'm staked to subnet 93. Let's use that as an example. So I'm interested by this. In theory, I always want to be staked to this validator because he's the best. And as soon as he spirals down or he's not number one anymore, I'd get an email alert. So let's just quickly screenshot that and send it over to Claude. So boom, I'm sending him the picture as well. I'm going to send him the URL as well and give him some context. All right, guys, so as you can see, it took me maybe 10 minutes. I sent him the API request. I sent him the API response for him to get context. I sent him the page with all sorts of arrows and stuff. I sent him a photo of all the different get validator API calls, because he might suggest me something new later on. And here is the bulk of my prompt. I mainly said, okay, here's the request and the response for the right get validator API call. This is the URL link that I'm interested in. How should we move forward? I would want to know how would I automatically get an email alert if this validator gets unregistered or spirals down and isn't number one in monthly APY anymore, because we constantly want to be on the number one validator on each subnet. That's the goal. How will the API call help us? Don't write code. Explain it to me in beginner terms. Is this something possible? So I sent him the validator hotkey as well to say to him that it's fetchable. Is this something we can do completely with code and API calls, or we need Playwright as a library? So this is a bit more advanced. So I just asked him that. And I told him only alert me if the number 1 spot exceeds the number 2 spots by more than 1%. I don't want alerts if the 2 spots are so close together. So yeah, that's a little edge case. I told him what I want in the email. So subject, body message, and etc. And cron tab is just a little extra line that we're going to put on our script for us to be able to close our VPS, and it's still going to loop once per day at 9 a.m. So don't write code, explain to me if this is possible, and write me the code flow chronologically in plain English so we can start later. So let's see what he's going to answer. All right, so good sign. This is 100% possible according to Claude Code, and we don't need Playwright or fancy libraries. So I think it's going to be pretty easy and straightforward. All right, so that was pretty much a one-tap prompt, and it gave me a 9-step code flow logic, and it's looking pretty solid for now. I don't think we're gonna get errors. So we're going to configure and map out the subnets we are currently invested in. We're going to make the API call, and we're going to filter the data to only check the 1 month. And then we're gonna sort all the validator APIs on every subnet from highest to lowest and check if our current validator, which is mapped out, is still number 1. If it's not number 1 and it's above 2% difference, we are going to receive an email with our validator being displaced and the new best validator. And it's going to repeat for every subnet. Then it's going to check again the next day at 9 a.m. once per day. All right, I already have a ready directory with a virtual environment created. So focus only on step 1, go. So we are already in the right directory with the Venv, and we're just going to open up the first file. Every time you write nano, it opens up a Python file to write a script. And as you can see, it ends with .py. So this is a Python script. So now we're just opening up the file. Okay, so we have the first file to copy paste. So click it right here. I'm obviously going to blur out my Gmail app password because this is confidential, obviously. And just don't forget to fetch your Taostats API key. For the subnet section, you would have to map out each subnet you're currently invested in and on which validator hotkey you are currently sitting on. So boom, copy that, just paste it right here, nice and easy. So Control O and enter to save, and then Control X to actually get out of the nano file system. To get your API key, go to Taostats, click here, click API. Add an API key, choose a unique name for your API key. Let's call it Valley Alerts. Go back to your nano validator config.py. And then just go back to your nano validator py and paste it right here where it says shoots API key. Just add it right here. It's as simple as that. All right, so yes, step 2, go. Now create the API fetcher. So copy this. Let's create another file inside Valley Alerts. So nano validator tracker. Paste this. So requests, import Taostats API key, validator config. So we have the Taostats endpoint right here. We have the API call. That seems perfect. So as you can see, I had this little piece of code. I executed this command to see if the API call would work, and obviously it didn't. There's a little bug. So usually what I do when there's bugs, I just copy paste the terminal output, paste it, and I said the API call didn't work. So as you can see, we were missing a library called request. So pip install requests inside the right directory in the virtual environment. And this is also an example as to how I learned. I actually asked what is requests. It asks with request, and we didn't have it as a library in our folder. So that's why we downloaded the right thing. And I'm pretty sure if I run it now, it's going to work. Damn, still didn't work. So let's get to debugging part 2. All right, so debugging part 2, I actually spoke with the Taostats devs, and Doug actually told me to change my API call format to exactly this. So, with the help of Claude, let's try to fix it with this right here. So copy that and copy this, like this, authorization without bearer, and let's see if it's going to work. Control O, enter, Control X. And now we're just going to test it real quick to see if it's going to fetch the best validators on subnet 93. So I don't get the client 401 error. This means I'm authorized, but it says no validators found. That's so weird. All right, let's try to update the link endpoint. Change to this. Control K to delete the line. Taostats Api and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 spaces. All right, that's the new link. Let's see. Let's test it again. Wow, it finally freaking worked. Found 42 validators on subnet 93. Top 3 are this, and this guy. That's perfect. So the API call finally works. And this is a live example as to how I learned. So I actually asked the questions as to why it didn't work before. So I actually understand my code and I can prompt better the next time I'm doing something similar. Because believe me or not, this problem is going to come up in another tool or automations that you're trying to build for Bittensor. Okay, it worked. What is step 3 now? Okay, so it one-tapped me the code, and this piece of code is basically the validation ranking logic, and it's going to alert us via email if I am no longer number 1. So copy this. We're gonna make a new file called check validators. So nano check validators, and just copy it right here. Boom, just like this. Control O, enter, Control X. It's as easy as that. And I actually asked the AI to dissect me Angela Yu style. For those of you who don't know, Angela Yu has a very beginner friendly Python course. So I'm just telling the AI, summarize it as if you were her as a teacher. And he explained me everything. I read the code flow, the logic, and it made sense. So I went with it. This is my style of verification and learning at the same time. Now, what's important, if you see right here, your rate limit is 5 requests per minute. That is not a lot, guys. If you don't set a rate limit, we might have like unauthorizations or bugs because it's too many requests per minute. So we're gonna do that right now. Space them out so I never reach the limit and only send one email with all the validators. I'm no longer number 1. Not one email per validator. So how should we modify the code? So, okay, perfect. So what changed? We added this line. We're going to sleep 13 seconds between each API call and it's 5 per minute. So 13 times 5 is over 60 seconds. So we're good with that. And this piece of code basically indicates us that once the loop is done, to actually send only one email with all the validators that have been displaced and aren't number 1 anymore, because I don't want 5 different emails if 5 of my validators aren't number 1 anymore. So these are the little nuances that you're gonna get better at as a vibe coder. So open your nano file again because we need to modify it. Just Control K everything literally. And copy the new piece of code, add it back in, Control V, Control O, Enter, and X. And he's asking us to test it. And right now I'm on Rizzo. And Rizzo is down here. As you can see, we are earning 51% APY only on Bitcast, while there are validators offering us 61%. So I should be receiving an email because we are not number 1. And it is mapped out in my config file as a subnet that I'm staked on. So let's see, the moment of truth. Boom, summary email sent. It should appear in our mailbox. Boom, validator alert, 1 subnets need attention. Boom, so subnet 93, your validator Rizzo, your 1 month APY. The new one is this one, the hotkey, and the new APY, and the difference. This is amazing, guys. It's all I want. So it actually works. We're getting there. So I'm asking him, okay, it works. Should I map out all the subnets that I'm invested on? Are there more things to do? Let's see. Okay, perfect. So the only thing we have to do left is to map out all the subnets we're invested on. I'll show you guys one example, and we're going to add a cron tab automation. So this literally says to the script, run every day once at 9 a.m. and run the checkup once a day. So now just grab your wallet in which you want to map out your subnet investments, copy it over here. You are going to see a map of all the subnets that you're currently invested in. And you have the net UID here, just copy it. And if you click the little squares, you're gonna have the hotkeys copied. That's what we need to add. So let me show you a quick example. So Tao bought on subnet 0. So I'd copy the hotkey I'd go to nano validator config pi. I'm gonna start mapping out right here. So I would do like this, 0, the little 2 dots, space, comma. Then I would copy paste the hotkey. This is Taobot's hotkey. Then I would do comma, because that's for the next one. And I would do a hashtag Taobot. And I know that that's on subnet 0. So do that for every subnet. And don't forget to press spaces so this little curly bracket goes down too. That's important. Okay, so I just mapped out all my subnets. It looks something like this. Oops. Control O, enter, Control X. And I am pretty sure that all my validators aren't optimized, so we're supposed to get a giant email with a bunch of information as to which validator is number 1 now. And let's just quickly add a cron job. So cron tab -e. Copy this line right here. Make sure the path file is good. So root projects valley alerts. And I asked him this. I see that the cron job runs validator pi. Does that file call all the necessary other files to initiate the whole code flow? And he gave me the chain of events, which all makes sense. So let's add line number 2 right here. Control V. And just then scroll with your mouse wheel. It's going to look a little weird, but it's like that. So yeah, the second job is right here. Same thing, Control O, enter, Control X. So now can I test? I added all the subnets. Am I supposed to get a giant email? The moment of truth again. It's doing its thing and we're respecting the max API calls per minute. So I'll catch you guys in a few minutes. So it's working very well right now. We have all the subnets that are getting parsed through, and once it's done, I'll get an email. Things are looking good, guys. And guys, this is Muse. And guys, this is amazing validator alert. 9 subnets need your attention. So your email will look exactly like this. Everything is nicely spaced out, and we will know exactly what our validator is doing, how much APY we're missing. It's in the difference right here. So look at all these percentages that I was missing for God knows how much time, 4%, 3%, 10%. So this is what I'll be doing to optimize my staking. And this script checks once per day. So this is what I'll be making available in the resource guide. I'll be sharing the code. And if you have questions as to how to implement it for yourself, I'll have a ready-made guide that I will share for my alpha group members if you want to implement this and optimize your staking. And last thing, guys, very important, because if you understand the logic, we have Gmail sending us emails automatically. So they also need an authorization API key. And this is exactly how you set it up. And you can go here, my account, google.com. Then you can click security and sign in and activate your 2-step verification. Then you can type app password right here like this. And click app passwords right here. You're gonna need to sign in. And right here is where you're gonna have to create an app password. So just write a name and click create. It's going to give you a 16-digit password. And this is exactly what we inserted inside the validator config file. And this is your actual API key towards Gmail for you to be able to automatically send emails on your behalf. So this is what automates this process. If you don't do these steps, your script won't be able to send emails to yourself. So guys, that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you've enjoyed it. I highly advise you guys start getting creative, start building something with Taostats, use AI to your advantage, because as you get more technical, you're gonna try mining on more subnets, you're gonna start earning more money, and we never know down the line how far we as beginner can reach this Bittensor mining thing. I'm on a mission to make $100,000 plus per year with Bittensor mining. So follow the journey, subscribe to the channel. A lot goes into these videos. I'm exposing everything. And if you guys want even more information, you want a help section where you can ask your questions, you want detailed stuff about my mining, my journey, all the subnets that I'm trying, and just come chat with us, get value there with all the tools that I'm currently building. I have listeners in all the subnet channels so we can get fast information at the tip of our fingers. I have trackers, I have, cold key trackers, things of that nature, portfolio updates. So if you guys are interested, everything will be in the description. It costs a coffee a month. And that's pretty much what I'm on. I've quit everything to do this Bittensor thing. The price is crashing. I'll be addressing it. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys are thinking of building something. Did you understand this video? Do you have any more questions? What are you currently looking to build on Bittensor? What are your Tao obstacles? I'll be glad to even maybe make a video if I see a good comment. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.